Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Build Show, the Saturday Build Show. I'm your host, Ben Estrino, over here at the Empower Gaming Studio, and we're going to be building, yet again, another badass PC. Who's ready to see this beast come to life? Super geeked for this build today. Also, hey Ben, what's up? Welcome to the Build Show, Chocolate. Finally, it is time. Hey Steve, welcome back. Welcome back, sir. So let's go ahead and run through the build out. We'll switch to a top-down view and then we'll run through. Hey Adam, thanks for that like over there on Facebook. Appreciate you, sir. We'll run through all the parts in the build and we'll get started on it. I know Mr. Eric is super excited. Eric is a customer that reached out. He's local over here to us. Reached out and he said he's looking for a badass PC. And he wants to pretty much be able to play anything he wants, at whatever resolution he wants, whatever he wants. And this PC is going to just do that just for him. So here we go. So starting off with the CPU, we have an AMD Ryzen 9 7900X 3D, which has got 12 cores and 24 threads and a maximum boost of 5.5 gigahertz. This is also featuring the AMD 3D V-Cache technology. It's an awesome CPU. I don't know, maybe the music might be a tad too loud. They are. But this AMD Ryzen 9 7900X is an amazing processor. And to cool it, we're also going to be running the Arctic Liquid Freezer 3 in black, which is addressable RGB. So it's got the three 120mm fans and also the cool looking block that kind of reminds me of Stark, Tony Stark, from his series. So this cooler is offset for the AMD CPUs, and the AMD CPUs towards the bottom of the CPU is more of the hot spot. We are going all out, it looks like. Yes, pretty much on this build we're going all out, Steve. But this CPU has a hot spot which is more towards the bottom of it, and this cooler specifically has offset mounting so that it centers up on the hot spot and does a better job cooling this thing. Hey, good evening, Army Vet. Welcome back, sir. Keep that streak going, sir. So the offset cooling mounting from this cooler is a benefit for AMD CPUs. We're going to be putting this on an AMD AIM5 X670E plus Wi-Fi motherboard by Tough Gaming. So this thing's got pretty much all the features that you'll ever need on the board. It's a DDR5 board, so we're going to be running DDR5 RAM, which we selected the G-Skill Trident Z5, a total of 64 gigabytes, which is 232 gig sticks at CL30 and 6,000 megahertz. So this is a super blazing fast large kit by G-Skill. So high-end stuff right there. For storage, we're going to be using a 4 terabyte M.2 NVMe SSD by Silicon Power. This is the US 75 model, which goes all the way up to, I think, 7,800 megabits per second. I'm just double checking. 7,000 megabits per second, 6,500. So its read is 7,000, write is 6,500. So it's a super fast M.2 NVMe SSD. And then the graphics card. The most exciting part probably for this entire build is we're going to be building with an RTX 4090, which is the Asus Tough Gaming OC, factory OC, which is got 24 gigs of VRAM, GDDR6X 384-bit, and we're going to be running it in PCIe 4.0. And then to power this entire rig, we're going to be using a Thermaltake Tough Power GFA3, which is a 1200 watt 80 plus gold power supply, fully modular, ATX 3.0 and PCIe 5.0 ready. which is that 16-pin 12-volt high power connection that we want from the power supply directly to the graphics card, especially when we're running a 4090, which can draw all the way up to 600 watts off that cable. We do not want to use any adapters in this scenario whatsoever. It's a direct connection from the power supply to the graphics card. Love the Thermaltake power supplies. This has a 600 watt gold in it. Yes. Yep, this has the 600 watt cable inside of it. Yes. Not bad. Evening. Finally. Yes, sir. Army vet. Yes, sir. So lots of cool parts here. What case are we putting this in? Well, we're going to be putting this in a Montech King 95 Pro. And cool things about that case is that you can actually change the front glass and change it out to a mesh if we wanted to, very easily. And actually add 2 more fans to that mesh platform that we add to the front, or front mesh, whatever you want to call it. So it's really customizable, not just because of the mesh, but it's just a really cool looking case. You also have some really good fans that are included with it, some high quality Montech fans. And but the idea is we're going to keep the glass on for this build and add the cooler to the top, so the cooler is just exhausting all the heat. But without further ado, let's get ready to build, shall we? By the way, this box is massive for the 4090. You should have seen the box this thing came in. It was like this gigantic box. Like Asus Tough is overly compensating for something. All right, so let's get started with the motherboard. We're gonna get that out of its box, and then get the CPU installed, the RAM installed, the SSD installed, and our mounting hardware for the cooler added. Our offset mounting. So much to do. We're also trying to have this thing ready for pickup tonight as well. That's kind of like the ultimate goal for this build tonight now, is get this done and ready for pickup tonight, so at least enjoy the rest of the holiday weekend, right? And that would also mean I have nothing on my plate for 2 days. Sunday I would be, well, I'm mowing my mother-in-law's lawn on Sunday, tomorrow. But, and then we're supposed to head over to my parents Sunday evening as well and hang out with my mom and my dad, which is grandma and grandpa for the kids. So we could just hang out and have a dinner or whatever. And then Monday, I have nothing. I have nothing. I could do nothing for the first time in I don't know how long, where I will have nothing that I have to do. There's things, of course, I could do. Hey, what's up? Dirt in a jar? Welcome. Glad you made it. Welcome to the build show, sir. But Monday, I will have nothing to do that I have to do, I should say. Not nothing to do. I don't know, you get it. Like, there's nothing that needs to be done. You just mowed your neighbor's yard? Nice. Yeah, I'm mowing my yard and my mother-in-law's yard right now. And she has like 5 acres. I made her buy a 0 turn. I'm like, I'm not doing this unless we have a 0 turn. So, we got a 0 turn. We're doing it. And it's a nice one. Gets the job done. Can't wait to show this bad guy off tomorrow. Oh yeah. Can't wait for you to show it off either. Well, Eric, just so you're aware, we actually won't be around tomorrow or Monday. So if you are planning to pick it up, I'm trying to get this done for you today. You would need to pick it up this evening. Just so you're aware. And I'll keep you kind of posted so that we can time it right, depending on what you got going. That basically you're here the moment it's ready. Might get a little... Either that or we could pick up on Monday when I'm around. That's fine. Gotcha. Alright, so now that we've got the CPU installed, I forgot to zoom in for you. I apologize. I know, I'm pretty pathetic, aren't I? Here we go. So now that we've got the CPU installed, we're going to add the RAM. The RAM is the Trident Z G-Skill Trident Z5 Neo RGB, which is AMD Expo certified. It's 6000 megahertz CL30, 232 gig sticks, so a total of 64 gigs. So, in other words, it's a super badass kit. And G-Skill is some of the best. So, and now we're going to remove the heat spreader for the SSD and install the SSD. But I forgot that this CPU actually, the offset mounting replaces the contact frame here. So we will be replacing that. But I got to get the cooler out and get the mounting hardware for that. So we have to do that before we put that in the case. Yes, that is specific or unique to this cooler and how it mounts with the offset mounting. Come on. All I'm trying to do is peel this thing off. There we go. That wasn't... Go. Now we got our heat spreader on our SSD, and the SSD is installed. Let's go ahead and get the cooler unpackaged, and we'll get the mounting hardware out so that we can get that sorted out before we put it into the case. Man, look at this thing. This thing's dope. That's the block, which lights up. I'll show you guys how cool it is. And yes, you will feel like Tony Stark. There's our mounting hardware. And then our AM5. Oh no, this is the LGA 1700. Our AM5. Actually, we don't have to take that apart, but we do mount it differently, don't we? I don't remember. I'm getting them confused. This is LGA 17. Okay. I'm drawing a blank here. Well, either way, it's got to get mounted. Before we put it in the case. The Matt, the myth, the legend has arrived. What's up, Sniper Matt? How's it going, man? I remember building my i9 1085K computer with the 32 gig of RAM. Told everyone I just built my last computer. It did not work out that way, though. Nope. Computers don't last like that. Steve, over on YouTube, I totally get that. All right, so aim 5. Looks like we're just going to use the back plates. Fine with me. We'll get the aim 5 brackets removed and add the mounting hardware for aim 5. And we've got just the studs and screws here. And then it's important to make sure that you get the brackets on the right side. And they're labeled L and R. L is for left, R is for right. But ultimately, you want the cooler to be mounted offset towards the bottom of the CPU. You really can't mess it up. You can if it was. I'm like the only few that can mess it up. Just leave it at that. There we go. We got one bracket. Testing the PSU. Number 4 will probably be playing PUBG tonight, or at least I'll be around. Nice. Well, I probably won't be on PUBG until late tonight. So, I got some yard work I got to take care of after this. And I probably won't be finishing this until late. So, if I get this done in time, and the sun's still up, I'll have some yard work to do. And then I can't play PUBG until that's done. But nice. Hoping the power supply solves the issue over there. But there's our AM5 mounting hardware. We're good to go. Now, let's get the case out. Move this over. And get the case. We'll zoom out so we're not just staring at a black background there, right? Oh, the beast of a case, the King Pro by Montec. King 95 Pro. There it is. King 95 Pro in all of its glory. I already started its peel on the interior glass. The Pre-peel is a feature brought to you by Micro Center. We had to source this case from Micro Center. Everywhere else was going to take like a week and a half to get. I'm like, I'll make a simple drive down to Micro Center. It gives me an excuse to go there and say hi to everybody. There we go. Get our. That's how easy it is to take it off. Top panel just pops right off, toolless. Rear panel, there's one thumb screw, pops right off. Side panel, glass panel, one thumb screw, pops right off. Next, I want to remove this panel, which is also very simple to remove. Got one screw here on the bottom. Hey, what's up? Bearded Custom PCs, what's up, man? Follow, sir. What's up? Yeah, it's Beard. Two screws, one on the bottom, one on the top, lifts up, and this actually you pull it towards the back on the top side and then it pulls off. It unhinges. But thank you for the follow, sir. Hope you're enjoying the build show. And there we have it. Now we have access to all the, I guess, area that we're going to probably be working in on the back. We'll flip this back over and get the hardware out, which is in a separate box in the packaging. Hey, what's up, some giant idiot? Welcome back. This the latest Montec case with curved glass. This is the Montec King 95 Pro. This one comes in two versions, but yes, it's got the curved glass on the front, which you can swap out for a mesh panel. So there is a mesh panel that replaces this front glass. The 95 Pro comes with the fans. You got two 140 millimeter reversed blades already installed here. 120 or 140 millimeter PWM addressable RGB reversed blades on the side. Then you've got three 120 millimeter PWM addressable RGB reversed on the bottom. And then you've got a standard 120 millimeter PWM addressable RGB on the rear. And the idea is you just mount your cooler on the top, which is what we are going to do. We're going to be mounting an Arctic Liquid Freezer 3 for this AMD AM5 Ryzen 9 7900X 3D. Good evening. Reverse blade design fans look great. Yes, it kind of adds that aesthetic. You know, everything looks the same in here. The only difference is we have three fans on the Arctic cooler, which is going to be on the top anyway. It's going to be barely noticeable unless you really look at it like, what's up there, you know? So you got to really look at it to notice it. And it would have cost you probably like 45, 50 bucks to replace the fans. There's just no point of doing that because they're so unnoticeable. They're just going to be broadcasting light down, really is all they're going to do. So unless it's somebody that's super picky and didn't have a budget, sure, we'll replace the fans and make everything perfect. But yes, they do sell this case without the fans, which is just the King 95, not the Pro, which does include the case, the mesh replace panel without any of the fans. So that's also a cheaper alternative if you want to install your own fans. Three-day weekend, I know. I woke up this morning and I'm like, man, some people have 3-day weekends, but it is not me. I'm gonna have a 1-day weekend, Monday. So here is the box that comes inside the box that's included with the case. We can try not to throw that on in the case, that little piece of cardboard. But let's open it up. Basically, you have your hardware kit, which is, by the way, everything is labeled on the box, which screw is what, which is pretty badass. That's your hardware kit. You've got a manual. And then you have, looks like a 2.5 SSD tray for the back. If you want to add more 2.5 drives, or does it support? Yeah, it supports the 3.5 as well. And then this is our front panel mesh if you wanted to replace the glass. So all of that is included with this case, which is pretty dope. They also give you a pack of AIO screws, which has a wider head. I'm probably going to use the wider head that will fit their slots. So they basically give you everything you need for the build, hardware-wise. Pretty dope. I forgot to remember. Hey, list. This is like stream number 3 that this has been going. There we go. Got that peeled. Don't have to deal with that later. And then we want to probably peel this too. Oh crap. Decided to go sneak into a crevice. Alright. Punch it in there. Lines up perfectly. And then we'll go in our fancy hardware kit provided by Montech and open up our motherboard screws. It'll be 9 screws to mount this boy to the case. So who's excited to see this thing fired up for the first time? Because I know Eric is. Eric's super excited to get his hands on this thing. Been waiting the last couple of days. Well, I think it's Monday that we put in the order, right? Beyond. Yeah, Eric's beyond excited. What is your opinion on mixing RAM with different speeds? So Steve, your question over there on YouTube, I'm sorry I missed it. It got swallowed up by some other chats here. But the my opinion on mixing RAM is don't do it. Do not mix your RAM. If you are going to mix RAM, at least make sure it's the same speed across the board. I've just seen too many stability issues mixing RAM. You can do it. It's not advised. You will have different experiences every time, and that's why. It's not going to be fully stable. There's times where I've seen people mix RAM and it's been working fine for years. And I'm like, how did this even work? What is your opinion on mixing RAM with different, same speeds, including the timings? Yes, Some Giant Idiot is 100% correct over there on Twitch. We want to make sure it's always the same speed, same timings, and if at all possible, when you're going dual channel with 2 sticks, make sure it's from the same kit. That's why they sell them in kits, is because they match them up as close as humanly possible so that they're almost perfectly the same. 4 sticks you can buy. I would recommend buying the same kit if you wanted to add 4 sticks, but with DDR5, I wouldn't recommend 5 sticks at this time. Or I'm sorry, 4 sticks with DDR5 at this time, because 4 sticks causes problems, stability problems on DDR5. So my recommendation is stick with the same brand, stick with the same sticks, same speed. And I would also not even, I wouldn't, so let's say we have 32 gigs in here, and then we add another kit of 64 of the same brand, same speed. I would recommend not doing that either. I've just seen weird issues doing that as well. Just try to keep it the same. That is your best bet to get the best stability and probably most out-of-box performance using either AMD Expo or Intel XMP. That is my advice around RAM. I would not mix it. Unless you had zero choice or you enjoy experimenting. I once had to diagnose a problem with my friend's PC. Wouldn't allow XMP on his 4 sticks of RAM. That looks the same. Turns out they are different timings. Yep, nailed it. So definitely, yeah, I've seen that multiple times. Some giant idiot. I've had PCs in here where they're like, my XMP won't work, and that's one of the first questions I ask him is, what RAM do you have in there, and are they the same sticks? And most of the time, we find out it's mixed RAM. So we don't want to. You want to try to avoid mixing RAM. Not a good idea. If you can. I mean, I've mixed RAM before, even on my personal PCs. But I'm a computer guy. I could figure it out. But for a common person that doesn't have the knowledge of understanding what's happening here, don't do it. Just buy the kit and put it in. Don't buy mixed RAM. Unless you know what you're doing and you have fun experimenting, like I said. So. All right, so let's go ahead and drop at least get the UPS cables out. Those plugged in. Let's do that. Before we start putting the AIO in, we want to get these EPS cables plugged in here at the top, because the AIO is a pretty big one by Arctic, and we don't want to have a situation where I'm sticking my fat fingers in small tight places that won't fit my fingers. So we're going to put the cables in first, because I'm smart, right? Sniper Mad, I believe the issue to be PCIe power to the GPU from 24-pin. Both my HX1000i are not working. I borrowed an EVGA. Yeah, I think you sent a picture about that unit, but I can't mix those modular power cable. No, you don't want to do that. Definitely don't want to do that. Now I have an RM750E powering just the motherboard, and things are working for now. Could just also be the motherboard, but I really hope not. TLDR FML. I'm sorry. I usually recommend go hard on the RAM the first time. So just buy double what you need. Yeah, so that's kind of what we did here. Eric was looking for, I think, minimum of 32, but I was like, we have the budget. Doesn't cost that much extra. Let's just go to 64. And then I won't ever hear Eric say, hey, Ben, I need a RAM upgrade. Because it's already done. And with DDR5, it's a good idea to do that first, because we can't really add the 2 sticks. Even though there's 2 open slots here, we really can't just add the 2 sticks, because it adds stability issues once you go to 4 sticks. So you want to run 2 sticks with DDR5. So that's one thing you want to max out your needs on DDR5. Corsair is bad for that on DDR4. Their Vengeance. Oh yeah, I know. I've countless times run into Corsair issues with DDR4 RAM, and it's because somebody bought the Corsair Vengeance RAM with a pre-build, and then they thought they were doing right, which they almost were, buying the Corsair Vengeance RAM on Amazon and plugging it in to add more RAM for their 2 empty slots. Ends up being different timings, and it just caused issues. So I've seen that a lot. I have. It's out of the box for Meow. Go hard and play easy. Exactly. But I won't ever hear you say, Ben, I need RAM. Because you got 64 gigs, man. You got more than me. I've got 32, but I need a RAM upgrade, and I know that. I'm going to be upgrading my system here soon. My own rig needs an upgrade, and I've just been so busy I haven't gotten to it. It needs a lot of TLC, actually. but it's a die-hard. It just keeps on going, chugging along, working. Get these CPU EPS cables. Yo. Ow. One more. Why is this? There. Why I'm doing it now instead of after the get pain in the butt to get. There's plenty of space back there. Cooler's not going to be like rubbing up on it. It's just going to be hard to get up into that angle to push those in. So I prefer to do that right meow, not later. Got a pump connection. I'll show you. This is really cool with this cooler because it's one connection back to the block, but got a single connection that's going to go to the block. But then we have 3 different connections. One for the fan, one for the VRM. There's a VRM fan on this block, and then one for the pump. We can control all 3 of those separately through the motherboard, which I love. Need a little bit more light to see what I was doing there, but all 3 of them plugged in. Now, what? What do we do now? I don't know. Let's get a AIO in. Oh, this AIO. Okay. Usually recommend go hard on the RAM the first time. Just buy double what you need once. Yeah, I've just read the second half of your comment there. Like, instead of 2 16s, go 32, 2 32s. Is usually better on the IMC. Yeah, for sure. Remember when people said 16 gigabytes was enough for the average gamer in late 2022? That was 2022. The new average is probably 32 gigs right now. I'd say that's probably the average right now that you need for gaming. 16's like the minimum. I would not recommend anybody trying to game on 8 gigs. It's just not going to work. Windows alone can't even run well on 8 gigs. Just not enough. Alright, so I know this tray pops out. So anybody that's ever built in this case who's here watching would probably tell me I'm an idiot because I didn't take the tray out, but I don't want to do that. I want to just keep the tray in there. One less step I have to do. So I'm doing this intentionally. Intentionally making it harder for myself. But in the end, it's 2 less or 4 less screws that I'm undoing. And yes, I am using the Montech screws that were included with the case because they're the right width without having to add the washers. We still have to put the top on. No, not necessarily. You do not need all of these screws. You forget to set pump to pump mode in BIOS. That's the next step. Yes, you need to set the pump to the pump mode. Most BIOSes, because this header has a pump, automatically is finding that it's a pump or setting it to the pump. At least that's on the newer boards that I've seen lately. But I do a BIOS update and then I go through and set the fan curves and fan settings, fan header settings. Yeah, I'll set all those after the BIOS update process. All right, there we go. We got our radiator installed. That starting to look like a gaming PC, right? Starting to look like a beast. Yeah, this thick cooler is just super badass. I'm a big fan of them, especially for AMD. So I'm going to go ahead and drop our Arctic Silver MX6 on here. And we're going to peel that off the copper block. Look at how shiny it is. And we are going to rotate this where we need it. I'll peel this off, covering up those pins. And then get this guy plugged into the side here, which is what's going to control the fans, the pump, and the VRM speeds, or at least read it. Plugs in there. Yeah, it seems like a lot of extra cables on the side, but we can zip tie that up pretty nice and neatly. Make it look fancy and good looking. Now it's time to mount it. Time to mount. Actually need to go in the hole. You know, I've had these be a breeze to mount, and then I've had them not be a breeze. Like, be a big pain in the ass. And this one ended up being pretty close to a breeze. Super easy. I don't know why that happens, but it does. There we go. Got our block installed. Now we've just got our RGB connection, which I'm going to run. Think about that for a moment. I think we have a hub back here too. So we're going to sync that hub. We're just going to run this back to the board. Run it to the board here. Primary. Asus Armory Crate will run the show. Go. Couple of zip ties. Zip tie these cables up, and we could drop the block down on it. Like the icing on the cake, so to speak. Doesn't look like a gaming PC yet until the rainbow puke starts. I hear you. Right. Ties on here. Make these cables look a little bit more fancy and uniform. Stuff them through the top there. Try to pull it through with my finger. Not working out that way. Want to get all that excess wire to the back, not floating around here on the top front. There we go. Looks pretty clean, right? The exposure is kind of low on this camera right now. Let me go look at it. Go see what the deal is. Start. Watch, then release a version of the case with 3 120mm, 140mm fans on the side. What do you mean? Like, meant them. Oh, watch them release. Oh, these are 140mm on the side, so I don't think you could fit 3 120mm there. I'm just kind of looking at this camera, and it's really dark, even though my light's on. We should be seeing a little bit better light here. Hold 1 second. If I don't fix this now, I'm going to forget, and then I'll be in another situation later. So I'll probably screw this up when I start touching this exposure button. There we go. A little bit more exposure. But now it's not. There we go. A little bit better. Tough makes some decent looking parts. Yes, they do. And we're matching the graphics card with the motherboard as well. So both of those are getting matched up nicely. Right? So it's going to look really nice. The camera does what it wants. Yeah, for what we paid for this camera. This camera does some interesting things. Still messing around with it, sorry. It just... This is the exposure rate that I want, but it seems a little dark. Maybe I can increase this. Kind of get where I want it. Maybe. Is that a little better? Might swap the Aorus Elite AX with X670 with a Strix X670E just to have it. That would be funny. I mean, the Aurora Elite is not a bad looking board either. Looking board too. Do we put this on here now? That's magnetic, by the way. All right, so next, power supply. So we're just making this thing easy. We're building this thing so fast. Actually, before we put the power supply in, I still haven't added the front panel connector, so I do want to do that as well. Let's get that taken care of before we go any further. I'm going to remove front glass for that. Okay, I can see what I'm doing. Do. All right, we got USB 3, USB-C, HD audio. The audio we already know goes over here. Send it. Addressable RGB or USB 3 and USB-C we already know is up here. We'll send it. Then our front panel connector, where'd that go? This guy, front panel. Oh, it's already over here, so we're going to send that. And I just need to know where that PWM fan header is. We have one there. Addressable RGB is there. So addressable RGB, which goes back to the hub. Send over here. And then PWM back to the hub. Gonna control the switch. Flip it over, plug it in. USB-C and USB 3 is all we got left. Anybody else feel like they have to plug in the USB-C cable like 6 times before they get it right? Alright. Plus, those motherboards look pretty. Yeah, they do. Dual chamber cases look more convenient. They're probably more convenient to build in, yeah. But convenience, they're larger. So desk space, you lose a little desk space. There we go. Got all of those connectors plugged in. And this thing's starting to come together. Now we could do the power supply. Which, because we already have an RTX 4090 for this build, we're only going to use the PIE 5.0 cable, which is the 12-volt high-power cable, 16-pin. We're not going to bother plugging in any of the other cables for PCIe. There's 0 points to do that. Hi. Flippity zip. One more. Pour the S's and the G's. Yeah, if you get one that does, you need to check that when buying. Also, if you have any Corsair Type 3 or Type 4 pinout unit, you can get a upgrade cable for it. Yes. Watch the 5060 need. Oh no, they are. So they are actually pushing the 12-volt high power connector on all of the NVIDIA cards. So I'm pretty sure the new 5000 series, every single one, is going to require. Oops, sorry, didn't realize that was fuzzy. Is going to require that. So I've been telling everybody, buy a power supply that has that cable if you're buying a power supply in 2024. Kind of a requirement now, especially if you're going AMD, NVIDIA, sorry. If you're going NVIDIA, you definitely want to buy a power supply with that cable. I don't know if AMD is going to follow suit. So far they've said, screw you, PCIe is enough. But they're also not building a 4090, so don't know what to say there. All right, power supply. Ish. Fits very nicely. All right, we do have a couple of SATA cables here that we need to get plugged in as well. That's power to the pump, or I'm sorry, power to the hubs, which is powering our addressable RGBs. So we need to get those plugged in. We're not doing any of the PCIe cables. Put those aside here. Help beneath the GPU cable. This 16 pin bad boy. I haven't decided if we want to go up or down with it. From the bottom of it, top. I haven't decided that. Routing. Route. I don't know. So these are all not needed, but I'm going to plug them in anyway because I don't want these to go missing. Modular. Very easy. Volt was on the reference 3060. Yeah, I know. Has the 18X pin PCI to 12 pin for no reason. I know. That was irritating. That's why I never built with the Founders Edition. If you were ever wondering why you never saw the Founders Edition card, like a 3060 Founders Edition here on the stream, it's because of that. It was kind of dumb at the time. Okay. Making us use this ugly looking adapter. Which at the time when they first released it, PCIe 5.0 power supplies weren't a thing. Barely. And if they were super expensive. So it was kind of dumb. All right. Fly is in. Oh, the last little bit we'll deal with after we get the GPU in and plugged in. Because I don't know which way I'm pushing this cable. I'm going to assume I'm going right over the top of it or underneath it. Probably going to be the right way to do it. Ugh. But it's the moment we've all been waiting for. The RTX 4090 install. A three slot card? I think it might be. I'm gonna undo 2, just in case. But I'm pretty sure it's 3 slot. Hey there, big boy. Ooh, they released a less thick 4090. I don't know. I don't remember if this OC card by Tough is three slots or not. Can't remember. It is 100% 2 slots. Still massive. This is probably why I turned the exposure down, because it's so shiny, it's reflecting all the light. That's huge. It is. And it's got a million peels. So here we go. Peeling time. Zotac 1080 Ti. Peels are the second best part. Zotac 1080 Ti Amp Extreme is basically the same size. I disagree. I've built with those. They are not the same size. They're big, but they're not the same size. All right, now that we've got all the peels done, holy smokes, we could drop this bad boy in there. Pardon my neck. Sorry, I just want to be accurate when I'm dealing with a $2,200 or $2,000 part, or 18 or whatever it was. Oh, shoot. My brain just went into fart mode. I forgot I had this. An anti-sag bracket for the back of the card. Why'd you guys not stop me and say, hey, what about the bracket? It's your guys' fault just as much as mine. This bracket I gotta put in here is gonna help with the sagging. This is a beast. This bracket's gonna go right here. And it will help hold the back of the card. These Asus cards don't include them. These tough cards anyway. I actually should have done this back when I installed the board, the motherboard. But I forgot about it. My brain went zippity zip. I knew I was missing something. I was like, this is too easy. What are we missing? Okay, which one is it? If it's neither, then which is it? It's small when it comes to the size of the 4090s, yes, definitely. This is why we do it. We do it right. Build with the right support for the right brackets, for the right cards. This is to ensure that we have the support on this card when it goes out. And it's a discrete bracket, so it's not like gonna make the aesthetics, you know, it's not gonna ruin the aesthetics. There we are. Bracket's in. Now we just need to know where we're putting this lip. I'm going to drop the card in again. There we go. Proper supportage. There you go. Man. Last little bit of stuff to do is The last little bit of cable management on the backside, and then we can fire this thing up. Let's do it. By the way, I really like that bracket. That bracket is by Lian Li. Super nice bracket that always works. Okay, so we did end up going down per row. Just don't want to pinch it like that. Or twist it. I'm just going to leave that cable kind of out of the tie-down equation. That. There we go. What do y'all think? That's some pretty cable management or what? Good enough? You happy with that, Eric? Clean, crisp. Years ago, I was told I need a graphics card if I wanted to build PCs, not so I am using this i9 10850K with one. Not sure I understand, Steve. The bracket wouldn't work with my X570 chipset. Water block. What? Oh, yeah, the water block. Oh, because maybe it was too high and the water block sticks off the back of it a little bit. I could see that happening. Oh gosh, I didn't realize we accidentally bumped the knob on the microphone, so I was blaring. Sorry. Without one. Oh, I was told I need a graphics card. Oh yeah, you could run it without one. The 10850K has onboard video, doesn't it? Yeah, glad I chose you to do it. Thank you. Well, let's patch her up. Might have to go on the back and put more zip tie here. Popping back out, but overall, pretty good, right? Looks like there's some smudges on it from the factory. Try to clean those off real quick. They look like they're on the inside. Now that's a clear glass. Oh, it's heavy. Oh, she's got some weight in it. Well, it's about time. Clean this up real quick. All this hardware. Mm-hmm. The cable management ain't got nothing on my handmade cables. I've seen your handmade cables. All right, side view time. Look at as the beast prepares itself. All right, who's ready for me to push this power button? Eric, are you ready? You ready for me to do this? Eric, are you here? Hit it. 3, 2, 1. Just kidding. That's sick. I know, look at it. Would you? Oh wait, there's one more peel. Aha! That a peel. Hey, we got a post. That's a good sign, right? We posted. It's magnificent. It's a beast. Look at that 4090. It sits pretty well with that bracket. I like it. Holding it pretty nicely. Hey, Sniper Matt, does it now does it look like a gaming PC? And yes, we did get a post. Steve, over on the YouTubes, most of mine do except for the i3. Yeah, because of the F. The F doesn't have the onboard video. And the Ryzen's did not have onboard video, the 5000 series, unless it was a G series. That was the only one with onboard video. I have a Skylake G4400 I don't know what to do with. Yeah, I don't know what to do with that either. Computer for the next 10 to 12 years. Won't need another computer. Yeah, you won't. Probably not. I mean, unless for games, you might have to upgrade the graphics card in, you know, a few years. But I mean, this guy won't need an upgrade or another computer for like the next 5 to 10 years. No, it'll probably be like 5. 5 is probably the lifetime. Because tech is just going faster. Or Rizzle. All right, time to get Windows installed. And then we got to get this thing benchmarked, and then it's ready for pickup. So Windows installed, drivers, BIOS update, then all the fun stuff in the BIOS, and then the Armory Crate stuff that we have to do. Make sure all the Windows updates are done. Some power settings, and we're good to go. Some benchmarks. So probably going to need at least an hour and a half on this, maybe 2. So around 9:30 I should have it done, Eric, if you wanted to swing by. I think the GTX 1080 Ti, and they are still going strong, yes. But if you've taken a look at how more demanding each games are after each year, they're becoming, like when the GTX 1080 Ti was released, games didn't increase their demands as quickly over the course of its years during the life of the GTX 1080 Ti versus now. Games are excelling at a higher rate and requiring more performance each year than before. So that's what I'm more worried about. Not that a 4090 isn't going to last a while. It's going to last a good few years at least, without having to like, oh, I need a new graphics card. But I mean, it is going quicker, so it's something to consider when you talk about that. Like, it's going to be a 10-year machine. You really can't say that again anymore today. Truly. Sure, the PC will be up and running and it will function, you know, great. But it's when you're trying to run five years into the future software or games, that's where it might struggle. The rate at which our technology is being, I guess the growth, or the, I don't know what to call it. The rate is significantly more than what it was. Yeah, Unreal Engine 5 is super hard on GPUs. A good example of that is the, what do you call it? Gray Zone. That thing is just a massive game, and it just, if you don't have 8 gigs of VRAM, period, you literally just can't play the game. That's the starting requirement, is 8 gigs of VRAM, and even then, you're barely getting 60 FPS without playing around with a bunch of the settings to make it work right. Yeah, it's a newer game and it's still in beta, but that's the power of the Unreal 5 engine. And a lot of games are going that direction, so, you know, all these GTX 1660 gaming PCs that I built 4 or 5 years ago, and still a couple even this year, on the budget, they're just not going to be able to hang anymore. Those 6 gig cards, neither are the 2060s. Gonna need more VRAM. And then that GTX 1060 can finally be laid to rest. Had a good run, which was the #1 graphics card on Steam, I think, for a long time. All right, well, we're loading up Windows. We're getting it done. Eric will be in touch with you when I have it finished here, or when I'm real close to finishing up, just so you have the best chance of getting here as early as possible. Then I was going to get late fast. I'm going to finish this up for Eric, and y'all have a good rest of your weekend. I mean, I hope everybody has Monday off, 'cause I do. And I'm going to use it to get some stuff done around the house. Put your 5700 XT to rest. That thing could still run. I'm actually going to do a in-house build, or a flipper build, with a 5700 XT here very soon. Could be a video or a live stream, one of the two. And then I've got another flipping build that's been sitting here for, gosh, almost a month. I'm supposed to do. Still haven't done it. I've got so many parts just sitting here, just doing nothing. Some kid on Facebook Marketplace hit me up because I had some fans listed on Facebook Marketplace, and he wanted some AMD heatsinks, so he only wanted a couple. I sent him a whole box of them because I have all these stock coolers. I'm like, here, have them. Take them. And I threw a bunch of extra stuff in there for him too, which he thought was absolutely awesome. So, freebie stuff. So if anybody ever needs anything, I got freebie stuff here. Just sitting in a box, doing nothing. Like, weird stuff, too. Like, mounting hardware for random coolers that I will probably never use again. That kind of stuff. Weird cables. Weird adapters. Weird fans. Weird everything. It's all sitting here in a box. Alright, guys. Have a good weekend. We'll see you guys probably on the next stream, which is most likely going to be Tuesday, because I'm going to be done for the weekend. We'll see you guys again on Tuesday evening. Have a good weekend. And remember, thank you for everybody who served on Monday. We'll see you guys next stream. Bye. I'll be in touch with you, Eric, just a little bit.